guys, it's Dr. Sammy Pryor, and today we're on the third video in the gut microbiome and obesity series, okay? You definitely want to go watch the first two if you haven't. Those are really important and to understand the cause, the reason why you have this risk for obesity, and a lot of tips in those, but this one is going to be focusing on probiotics. But you do not want to miss the next one in the series because that's going to be talking about like your diet and stuff like that, okay? And really important stuff in the next video, so hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything. Okay, but what are probiotics? They consist of live bacteria, typically the lactobacillus and the bifidobacteria, and they're beneficial for improving the composition of the colonic microbiota and promoting the health of the host. Okay, and probiotics are just mostly that lactobacilli and the bifidobacteria. They're coming out with more and more, and the strains are very specific. I've been making videos about the microbiome and different diseases, and the reason why is because the use of probiotics and prebiotics as a prevention and treatment for different chronic diseases has largely increased in the last decade. Okay, and why is that? Because research is coming out all the time, and I've made many videos about disease-specific alterations in the microbiome. Like, for example, there is a bug that you find in people that have breast cancer. They have a higher risk of mortality, and even if they've had the breast cancer treated, you find this bug in them, they have a more likelihood of reoccurrence, right? And I could go on and on with conditions. I love the microbiome. This is the most fascinating stuff, and research is coming out all the time. Okay, so on to it. So we're going to start with the mice studies, the rat and mice studies. Why do they study rat and mice? Because they populate very fast. They have many progeny. That's because in the wild, there's many predators. So any animal that gets eaten by a lot of predators, they reproduce extremely big litters and very fast. And we know mice and rats, they reproduce very fast, so we can do studies on them. And when we sacrifice them, I know animal activists hate that, but it is for the benefit of medicine. Okay? Okay. So we know that in a study, obese mice were fed one or more strains of probiotics, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Bifidobacterium breve, or Lactobacillus paracasei, or placebo. The mice that were receiving the probiotics showed a decreased level of serum lipopolysaccharides, which are very neutral lipids in the liver, and IL-6. Both LPS and IL-6 are very inflammatory markers in the body. Okay, so in the mice, when they got probiotics, it decreased the inflammatory markers. Okay, this one is very cool here. Coumarin. Coumarin has recently been recognized as an adipokine that plays a major role in the metabolism of adipocytes and increases adipogenesis. So, lay terms, makes you fat, right? Makes fat cells and increases the fat getting bigger and bigger, right? So coumarin, that's really important, okay? So Selleck and Unlas-Sugat in 2019 evaluated the impact of probiotic supplementation on levels of coumarin, I don't know how you say it, but yeah, inflammation and metabolic syndrome parameters in obese rats. Okay, so the rats were fed either a controlled diet, a high-fat diet, or a high-fat diet supplemented with probiotics after the induction of obesity. So these all these mice were obese, okay, all of them. Okay, So weight and changes in weight and BMI were statistically different in the obese intervention group compared with the control group. Okay, and rats in the obese group also exhibited increased fasting plasma glucose, insulin resistance, inflammatory markers, and leptin compared with the control groups. And we know those markers are the same in obese individuals, humans, right? So yeah, the higher your obesity, the more insulin resistance, the more leptin resistant. Yeah. Okay. So treatment with probiotics decreased the weight gain significantly, and that was even in the rats that were given the high fat diet if they were given the probiotics. And these positive effects were observed at the level of insulin and fasting blood glucose, inflammatory markers, leptin, and chimerin levels. Okay, so back to the chimerin, we know, or chimerin, that is the adipokine that makes the fat cells either new ones or the fat cells to get bigger and bigger. Okay, and so the probiotics, even in the high fat diet, help these mice have less of that chimerin, that adipokine. Okay, so cool stuff. Okay, now on to the human studies. This is what people want to know. Okay, so they have found that the use of probiotics have been shown to reduce the BMI and total body fat, especially the visceral fat. Visceral fat is really the unhealthy fat. You often see this in like men who are, kind of fit, but they have big bellies. Well, you go to touch the belly, if there's no shake in the belly and it's hard as a rock, that's usually visceral fat. And that's the fat that sits around the organs. That's very, very high risk for cardiovascular disease, all kinds of diabetes, metabolic issues, inflammation in the body. Yeah, so visceral fat, if probiotics can help that, good thing. Okay, so a meta-analysis was conducted to examine the effect of probiotics on body weight and glycemic control in overweight and obese adults. It showed adults who received probiotics had significant reductions in body weight, BMI, waist circumference, fat mass percentage compared with adults in the control group. Okay, and a greater reduction in fat mass was observed with. Okay, so these are important. Number one, use of high versus low doses of probiotics. Okay. Number two, probiotics of a single strain versus multiple strains. Okay. And three, probiotics administered in the form of foods compared with capsules or powder. Okay. So probiotics in foods. Yes, if you go back and watch my video on probiotics, you'll know I said if you don't have a health condition, you don't necessarily have to take a probiotic as long as you're getting them in your diet. Okay, that's like yogurt, kefir, okay, kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, like these things. If you have regular consumption of these are probiotics. Okay. Okay, in addition, when compared with the control group, individuals in the probiotic groups had reduced insulin levels. Okay, overall, Wang et al. In 2019 and Kutanikova et al. Claimed that use of probiotics both has a, let me turn the page, positive effect on weight loss and improves other metabolic parameters. Okay, awesome. These are great studies. Okay, next one. Probiotics containing lactobacillus and bifidobacterium appear to have some benefit for gram-negative gut bacteria, thus preventing the overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria in the gut. And as we saw in the last video, inflammation is a big risk factor for becoming obese. In addition, probiotics can improve the intestinal epithelial barrier and reduce gut permeability, with a major factor in preventing inflammation and endotoxemia, so that LPS high in the gut or high in the blood. And we know short chain fatty acids play a key role in this process because these probiotics increase the short chain fatty acid production. Okay, here we go. So, in a study by Kian et al. 2019, subjects were randomly assigned to 4 groups: a high-fat diet, dietary intervention, in which the high-fat diet was replaced by a low-fat diet, high-fat diet with probiotics, which consisted of Lactobacillus acidophilus, Bifidobacterium longum, and Enterococcus faecalis, or the dietary intervention with probiotics. Okay, so fecal samples were obtained after 4 months, and a 16S rDNA sequencing was carried out to pinpoint how probiotics with dietary intervention changed the microbiota composition. So results showed that the combination of probiotics with dietary intervention raised microbial diversity as compared with individual application. Of the 2 butyrate-producing families, Ruminococcaceae and Lactobacillus. Okay. Moreover, they observed a reduction in the ratio of Bacteroides and over Firmicutes in those with the high-fat diet obesity, which may be inversely increased by diet adaptation. Okay, so basically what they showed was if they have the dietary intervention of lowering the fat in the diet and adding the probiotics, you really increase the these butyrate producing families, the Ruminococcaceae and the Lactobacillus, and that is extremely great for your health. But if you saw the last videos, which I highly recommend, you'll know how important that is for your weight. Okay, and it does show that intake of probiotics with dietary intervention appeared to expand the phyla of beneficial species and reduces certain harmful species, and it provided a natural possibility to treating a high-fat diet obesity. Okay, so why do probiotics work? Okay, so supplementation with probiotics may increase the short-chain fatty acid providing bacteria, reduce the quantitative LPS producers. Okay, so those bad bugs that when they die, those cell walls, if they get in your blood, that causes an endotoxemia. Very inflammatory to the brain. We know people with Alzheimer's, they have a lot of LPS. Okay, and reduce tissue loss and organic inflammation caused by the LPS. And then opportunistic pathogens with their metabolites are also reduced by probiotics, and probiotics may also inhibit fat accumulation, reduce inflammation and insulin resistance, and regulate the neuropeptides and the gastrointestinal peptides, which are hormones that play a role in your satiety and your appetite. Okay, and basically many other things. All right, so that's the video. I'll quickly sum it up. Basically, probiotics have been shown to help with weight loss. Okay, yeah, that's the summary. All right, guys, I love you. That's all this video is about. You do not want to miss the next video. That's going to talk about more things that are going to be highly beneficial if you are struggling with weight gain and how to prevent weight gain. Okay, so this series really is for everybody because obesity is becoming a huge epidemic in this country and many other Western countries. So recommend this video to anyone that is struggling with their weight. Okay, this has huge impacts on them. Okay, but I love you guys. And I hope this 2024 has been going great for you so far. And if you could like this and you could subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos in the series. Okay, bye guys.